Hi, and welcome to my channel. I am Tammy Osturk, the designer of badbobbin.com, and this is part two of our In the Hoop Rivet Handbag 1 by Bad Bobbin. We are going to assemble the bag now. We've already done part one, which was sewing it out and everything, and now we are on part two, which is the assembly part. So let's head on over to our cutting table and see how to assemble our In the Hoop Handbag 1 by Bad Bobbin.
Okay, we're at the cutting table with our pieces. Some of them were already trimmed and cut out when we needed to add them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take off the stabilizer off of everything, and then use my hemostats to get it rid of, because some of the stabilizer is just not my favorite. Like I said, it doesn't come out very well. So all the little pieces in between, I don't want them there, so I'm going to use my hemostats to pull out that extra stabilizer. So I'm going to do that all around everything, and I'm going to pull the stabilizer off of this piece as well. This was our piece that we added our front and back piece to. So I'm going to clean everything up and I will come back. I don't think you want to watch all this stuff. It's kind of tedious on this, and then I'll explain the next step after I do all my stabilizers. So I will be right back. I'm not going to record any of this because you've seen me tear stabilizer before, and just, not fun. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've got all the stabilizer torn off and everything. So there's different things we can do. We can either cut everything first and then trim everything, trim all these little pieces. A lot of these holes will be punched out, or portions of them will be punched out. So if you want, you can do just a quick clip on these. No big deal about the little knots and stuff. If the rivet is actually going to go over it, so the threads coming through or anything is not a big deal. It's just a placement line, and you may end up cutting through some of the lines anyways with your punch. So not a big deal on these, but just, sometimes just trimming them so that when the cap does go down, you won't have threads hanging out from underneath the caps on either the Chicago screws or on our rivets. So that'll be something that's a little tedious. You're not going to want to watch me do all these clippings either. So clip the threads. Where it comes to the ends where it's sewn around the outside, I'm just going to trim a little bit, and then really, I'm going to bend it back a little bit and really carefully, quickly, just singe a little bit, push it down, see if it's good, singe a little bit, push it down. This is felt and it will melt and singe. So you just want to do those threads a little bit where it's joining our square part. Like this one's got a little thread hooked in there. I'm going to cut it out of there. And then, so there's just a few little threads like that. I'm just going to fold it back a little bit. I'm going to leave a little bit so they're not fully trimmed. So you can see I have a little bit there. That way when I hit it with the lighter, just a little bit like that, and then I push it down, it kind of sinks into it and it singes it, like putting a little knot on it. And sometimes I'll tap the front side too, where it joins, and just kind of push it down in. That just helps it stay together, helps it from fraying, helps it from, undoing. Little ends here like this, where on our line stitches, I'm going to pull them out a little bit. I'm going to fold it back. I'm going to take the scissors and just trim a little bit so there's still some hanging out like that. I'm going to hit it with the lighter really quick. You can kind of see it suck up. There you go. As long as you've got the polyester or rayon thread will do this. Cotton thread will not do that. So there you go. And it's like all singed up. Perfect. There's no little threads hanging off of this one. So if you want to tap the other side as well, just a tiny bit, and push it. So I'm going to go along and I'm going to trim all these little threads off of everything. I'm going to singe my little start and stop places on all my pieces, and then I'll come back and show you all the cutting. So let me get all that done and I will return. All right, we have trimmed all our little circles, little things. I've heat set some of the spots where they need to be done, which is the stops and starts of our lines especially, so that they don't come undone. And now we're going to cut things out. So this one's a little bit tricky. This one here on our sides, we're doing the basic, I have my straight rule, or use your scissors, and you want at least 1/8 or less. So we're going to go with my 1/8 line, which is right here. I'm going to take that line and I'm going to set it on this side of my stitch line. Sometimes you can either do it right on top. I like to do it just on the other side of it. That way I'm a little bit less than that 1/8. Hold on to it tight and use your blade straight up and down. This one, I should get a new blade in it, but I didn't. So we're going to go around all our pieces and we're doing our 1/8 around all of the pieces and having our 1/8 ruler line on the inside, just to the inside of our stitch line. So I will do these offline, off camera, so that you don't have to sit here and watch me do all that. Now for this tricky part. Okay, so with the bottom of the bag, it shows, you're not going to see it really, so we're going to cut on the top part. That way if it's at a slight angle or because of the little bit of bulkiness, we're going to have a clean side on the outer sides. So we need to cut the bottom parts first, and then we'll come in and hand cut the other part. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I want to be 1/8 of my inch. And this one here, because it's the bottom of the bag, I'm going to do it right on the line instead of on the inside. Excuse me, that way we'll have enough play and there's going to be enough for the bottom of the bag for wear and tear. Here we go. And we're going through quite a few layers here. So actually, yeah, it's not going to, it's having a hard time going through all the layers. So you're going to push really hard to get it down in there, depending on your cutter. There we go. All right, so that's one. Little bit of roughness right here where I kind of, with the bulkiness and having it embossed, it's catching each of the different embosses and going at different layers. So, all right, let's work on the other side, in the front here. And I'm going to do my 1/8 again, right on the stitch line this time. This one we got a little wonky because I didn't have it taped down properly and I couldn't line it up on the machine. And I should have come to the table to do it, and I did not. I was trying to just show you at the machine. But otherwise, it would have done straight. Here we go again. Yeah, we're getting a little, I should have used my other blade that's got a little bit more height on it, and I don't keep hitting this on the straight. But kind of okay there. Yeah, see, it got close on this side because of the bulk. It kind of turned a little bit. So now I'll trim with the hand scissors. These are my lefties. Let's see if I can use these. I'm not cutting very well still because of my hand, so normally right now, with the way my hand is, I would have my husband cut for me, but he's not here. I'll do a little bit of cutting with the scissors just to get some of those trims off of there. There we go. Yours will look a lot better. Mine's not because my arm, and I can't press hard enough with my wrist right now. I'm still recouping from it. You can tell it's completely swollen and I cannot do a lot of things. Anyways, so I'm trying my best to show you. So we've cut the bottom part the best I could. Yours will look better when you do it. And then I'm going to cut the same thing on the sides here. Same thing, that 1/8 of an inch, and it's going to be on the inside of my yeah, I don't have the strength. Sorry. 1/8 on the inside of the thread line, stitch line. So yeah, it's kind of hurting. All right, so we also have the inside here. This piece needs to be trimmed and cut off. So this, you can either work this one in here with the straight blade, or we can do with our scissors. So I'm going to have this inside here cut with scissors, and I'm going to cut the inside here with the scissors as well. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. If not, I will have someone do it for me. So it's going to end up being off camera, but I might be able to do it with the spring scissors. So there we go. That one worked. So we'll cut, it's cut inside like that. I guess my spring scissors are a little bit easier on my hand right now. Thanks to the hubby for buying these for me. And I'm terrible at left-hand cutting, so. All right, so I've got that one done, and then I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and I'm going to trim all these, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have all my pieces cut out, 1/8 of an inch all around the stitch line. I have my 2 side pieces, I have my handle, and if I want to do the D-rings in the side panels for the straps, have it both ways or not have it at all and just do your handle. So our next step, and everything got cut out, and I went and had someone cut this for me, and we have everything all nice and neat. So we can punch the holes. So I have my leather punch to punch the holes, and I would say for the Chicago screws or the rivets, I would use like the 1/8. That would be the best size, because it's not going to be too big where your rivets are going to come through, or the heads or anything of that sort. So 1/8, and you'll go along, and I would do the top side so that you see where you're at, and then I'm gonna have a hard time, so I'm gonna have to do these offline again and have someone else punch them out for me. I do have a punch on my foot press as well, but sometimes you just like I like punching the holes with this. So they come out, and then like I said, some of that thread's just gonna, come with it when you do it, so there was no big deal on doing the threads. So we're gonna go along and we're gonna punch all our holes, and then before we assemble it, we're gonna go ahead and attach our other piece. And so the same thing, if you were using the one with the prongs, you do the same thing. If you want to wait till the purse is done so you can figure out exactly where you're going to want to bend this, curve it down and how it's going to lay. Actually, this is not the side that should be bending, it's this. So we're going to roll it to get it to kind of form a little bit. I know we have the stiffen Peltex in it, but we want to give it some sort of stiffness, but yet we're going to roll it to give it its form. And the same thing, if you want to wait till it's all together and you get your sides on, and then you can figure out if that's where you want to put, it has been measured. So once the sides are on and the handle's on and the handle pulls it up, it's kind of where it needs to be. So same thing, you're going to do on your circle. Like I said, you can do it either way. Wait till you're done if you want, or use the placement that I have. Set it over your circle. You're going to mark your 2 lines. You're going to put your, I use the tip of a utility knife. You have something underneath this so you won't cut. So we'll go this way. So same thing, you would use this to make marks, and then use this to go through, and you kind of hold it a little bit and punch just your tip through to make just a small enough hole that the prongs will go through. And then, like I said, with this one, if you use the prong one, this goes on the outside. Well, actually, it's going to be, this one goes on the outside. This is your receiver, because we were putting our male on the other side, so your female goes here. These prongs are going to stick out on the back, along with the disc. So this is where I said that you can glue just a little piece of felt over top of it, and that way your prongs won't get caught or anything, and you can hide the snap little prongs. But we're going to use the rivet one, so I'm not going to mind having that little button on the outside here. So I'm going to wait until the purse is completely assembled, since I'll be able to do it with a block and a hammer, and wait till the end and make sure I get it in a proper place. So I will get my holes punched out, and I will be back once they get all punched out. Okay, I have finished punching everything out with the leather punch. It does take a little bit, so most of the prepping and everything is what takes the time. The stitching is like nothing. So I have my 2 panels, all the holes are punched. I have the purse itself, the main body, and all the little holes are punched. And we've even punched the top for our handle up here. And then I've also prepared these if I want them. I think I may put them on this bag this time. On my other prototypes I didn't add them, but there's no markings for them because you're not sure, I'm not sure where you may want to have this. Once it's actually assembled and everything would be the time that I would add them, because that way I know where I want that strap to actually, once the side is here. So I don't know if I want that strap kind of low, want it up higher. I'm not sure where the actual balance of the purse will be for that strap. So I'm going to wait till the end to add them, but we will. And we have our side panels. And you can prep this if you want. It's up to you. I kind of will let it sit overnight. And all the places that need to be folded or creased, I do my little clips. And I fold them over on that, stitched line just to give it its folding. It needs to be folded. So it kind of helps if you let it maybe sit overnight with your vinyl clipped to give it its form. If you're in a hurry, no big deal. We don't have to do the clipping. So that would be for the side panels. And then all these sides need to be folded in, like so, on these. So that's kind of why, because having that pell on, it wants to keep popping out, and you want to try to keep those sides in. So I'm going to sacrifice a day, and I am going to go ahead and clip everything like this, just so that we can see the difference and make it kind of the right way, because we want everything to be creased and tucked in and nice lines. So I'm going to go ahead and clip everything, and then while I have everything clipped and let it sit overnight, I'll finish that. We're going to prepare for our rivets or Chicago screws, whichever ones you want to do. I don't have enough rivets to go around because, like I said, you need like 38 to 40 of them. And I don't have enough rivets. I mean, I could like swap a few, and I wanted to go with silver. So I don't think I have, I'll have to look through all my drawers. I don't think I have enough silver rivets, or I would go half and half like I did on my prototype. The bottom I did in all rivets so that it was stable and it couldn't unscrew. And then the sides, I alternated a Chicago screw for a rivet, Chicago screw rivet. I ended up doing Chicago screws for the handle. And I mean, see if we can see what the inside, I know it's dark, but I don't know. I mean, here you can kind of see where we did a rivet and then Chicago screws, and the screw part, the head for the screwdriver part is on the inside. So you may want to get a small or have a small hand type little screwdriver. And then we're also going to wait until the bag is assembled to put in my snap. And since I have it done with the cap, it'll be easy. Either way, it actually waiting till the end would be a good thing, so that you really make sure that the curve of your bag and the handle is set in the center. So I'm going to wait on that. And I thought that might be kind of cute is I have these little jewel ones. So I thought that maybe on my handle I might do the little jewels. So my handle, I can do little jewels, and then maybe the very top one on my sides, the very top one can be a jewel, or all of them, but I thought maybe I'd just do the top one as a jewel for an accent, do all the rest as my silver Chicago screws, see if I have enough silver rivets for the bottom, for my bottom piece. And maybe, I think I will. I think I'm going to add the little jewels. I think it'll be kind of cute. Little accent of using the jewels on the handle, on the top, a little bling. And I think I'll put one on each top of my sides. So that'll kind of help take up from the Chicago screws. So I will set all these out and have them ready to go for tomorrow when I do the next step of assembling it for everybody. So if you want to clip them to keep them folded to get a nice crease before we actually put them all together, that would be the thing you can do, and let it sit overnight or however many days you think you need to have it work to crease. And then I'm collecting everything else, so I'll be ready to go. So I will see you on the next step. All right, I'm back. I let them sit overnight with all the clips on them. That's to fold it over. So we have the sides folded, and we have the two bottoms of our side panels. So I'm going to take the clips off. They're slightly bent, which is what we need. That'd be perfect. It'll help with the assembly and help the purse sit nice. And I've got my D-ring set up, ready to go. Handle is ready to go. I went through and got all our pieces. Sorry, got lost track here. I got all our Chicago screws. I did not have enough rivets, but I am on the bottom going to place at least 2 rivets on each side. So it's going to go 2 rivets, 2 Chicago screws, 2 rivets, 2 Chicago screws. That way I know the rivets for sure are going to stay, just in case ever if the Chicago screw decides to turn itself out or it didn't get done tight enough, the bottom of the purse is still going to hold because we have at least a rivet in it. So that's another tip or an idea, is to maybe do the bottom in all rivets, or like I had to, only because my silver ones didn't come in time yet. It's going to be a couple more days and I didn't want to wait. So I'm doing that. But I can also always take out those Chicago screws and add rivets. So at least for now, I'm going to show you. And our sides are bent in nicely, so that's why it is you know, kind of a tip and advisable to have these pushed in and let them sit clipped up for a night or two. It's up to you. I only did it overnight. So we're ready to assemble it now. I have my board and everything ready for my snap. The other part of my snap, which I said I was going to kind of wait until the end once my sides were on, and put the handle and see where this lays, just in case it might be in a different spot than where I actually want it. If you're doing the snap tabs, I suggest using your awl to poke your holes for that. You may want to, up to you if you have your hand. The hand one's not going to quite sit in here. If it does, you'll kind of have to bend this a little bit to get your hand press in there, but I have the table press, so this will fit into the table press. So the first thing we're going to do on assembling this, sorry I might be all over the place, I'm trying to move this around, and I'm also going to decided that I'm going to do the jewels on my handle and at the top of each side of my sides. So the first thing you're going to do is your sides, and you're going to sometimes it does line up differently. Each side may have, there's a right and a left, so you want to just kind of set it first and kind of look to make sure that your holes are lining up properly. If you feel that it's off, then you may need to switch it over, switch sides, and you know, see if maybe this one is the right one and it's set, but they are pretty much exactly on, so you'll kind of see it if they line up. So first things first is our bottom piece. We need to add the bottom, and I want to have my bottom nice. I don't want it this way with a ridge or anything, or things getting caught under it and falling out. So I'm going to put my flaps underneath. All right, so we'll start with the one side, and you want your nice part of your rivet, nice part of your Chicago screw on the outside. The Chicago screws are up to you if you want the, depending on the look you want, whether you want your flat head on the outside or if you want the screw effect on the outside. It's up to you, totally up to you as to which way you want to put your Chicago screw. So I always start with the female part of this. There's two parts. The caps I always do on the inside. So I always have the peg go from the outside to the inside. And then I'm going to snap my cap onto it. That's just to set it. It's not completely set yet. I am just setting them to be prepared, and then I'm going to do Find my cap for this one. A little bit mixed up. There we go. And the cap snapped right on, so that's not secured yet. It's just that it kind of holds it there in place for you until you actually smash it down. So that's that, and here. And you can either use your table or you can use your hand press. I do have a table press, but I'm actually going to use the hammer and our little piece. So the divot here, I have two different sizes. This is for the small one, the 5 and 6 millimeter, and then this top one here is for your 8 and 10 millimeter. So I'm going to set the one and make sure it's seated. And you can do it either way, top or bottom. I'm going to make sure it's seated, and I'm going to set it down. It's not moving, it's seated inside that little cup. Take your other part, the setter, and it goes right over the top of that, and then you're going to have your hammer, which I forgot to grab. I got it. So then you take your hammer, and this one goes right over. Make sure it's centered. And a few taps. You need to do some good ones, not really light. And you can kind of feel it and hear it as it was going down. You can hear that last hammer was just kind of a solid one and not a tinny type one. So we'll do that to the next one here. You kind of hear that ting ting go away. That means it's set in there. So these two are set nicely. Alrighty. And then I should do the Chicago screws. And with the Chicago screws, I want my nice side. Okay. Sorry. Here we go. So I want the nice side on the outside, the flat side. So it's going to go through. This one you're going to have to, push a little bit because the holes are a little bit smaller actually than for a rivet. There we go. That one went through. So we may have to, for the Chicago screws, I think we have to go up one more. So for the Chicago screws, we're going to go to the 9/64. So I will put that in the video in the beginning. If we're doing Chicago screws, you're going to want to go with the 9/64. So now I'm going to have to go back and re-punch all these. So if we know we're using Chicago screws, you can go with the bigger hole. That way they will fit properly. And they go through. So it's pushing through, and it's just enough. You don't want your Chicago screw too big, because then there'll be too much slack between. You want it to be tight up against, into its pocket. So I have my little screwdriver, and I'm going to start it. I've got it somewhat started. It's starting to spin on me, so if you have a rubber glove on, like my husband showed me, that I use the rubber band, kind of push on the rubber band on that side so it stays kind of tight, and then keeps turning. And you can feel the tension. You can feel it start to turn. So just kind of push a little bit harder against your rubber band. And there you go. So there's the Chicago screw. Very nice on the outside. It's not scratched because we used the little rubber band instead of, something else to hold it. So I have one more to go. And for this one, do nice on the outside. I'm going to go through and redo my holes that I'm going to use the Chicago screws in. My hands don't want to work. And we'll redo this one too, just to make it that little bit bigger so we're not going to struggle. We don't want to struggle. We want to make things easy for us. Alrighty. Okay, Chicago screw going through. Yep, a lot easier. So there will be a note, if you catch that note earlier in the video, that if we're going to use Chicago screws, you want to go up to, on your punch, either like use the punch that comes with it if your kit has one. Like this kit doesn't have a punch that comes with it. So I think the best investment is this leather punch because it comes with so many different hole sizes. So for Chicago screws, you're going to need that 9/64, a little bit bigger. Bigger than the 1/8, we need that 9/64. Okay, whoops, I put the wrong end in. No, I did not. I just grabbed the wrong one. Here we go. So I've got my screw, the head part on the inside, and my nice looking one on the outside. That's the bottom of the purse. And there's so many different things and options you can do if you are a purse maker and you know about it. If you want to put feet on the bottom, you can add those little feet right here. Those feet are similar to either like rivets or Chicago screws, and you can put them on these four corners. That would work too, perfectly. Just put little feet if you want feet on the bottom of the bag. I chose not to, but like I said, there's so many options that you can do. Whoops. Chicago screw is this one. There we go. And it's tight. There we go. We've got our first four done. That's our side. One side. So now we've got the other side to do. And since we already know, again, that we're going to do 2 rivets on each side, which those holes were perfect, we're going to do our Chicago screws in the middle. So I'm going to punch out just a little bit bigger holes to put those Chicago screws in. There we go. We're using our little handy basket to use there's another project from Bad Bobbin to keep our pins in, or clips, quilter's clips. Alrighty, so same thing we'll do on this one. I'm going to start with my rivets. I like the nice side on the outside. I put the peg towards the inside. So that's our pegs going in, and they will set in the first one and the fourth one. Flip it over. I have them coming out. Now for the caps. Set the caps on them. They'll do a little snap like that. Little snap. They're on there, but they're not secure, so we do need to set them. Once again, we have our bottom part that it seats in. Want to make sure it's the larger size or the proper size for the rivet you have. Our setter for the top. Make sure the divot part, little divot part, and then there's a flat part. This is the part we're going to hit with the hammer, and then that's the divot part that goes right over the curve of that rivet. Okay. Set. Make sure it's seated again and set. There we go. Perfect. All right, that's done. We need 2 Chicago screws. There we go. And we're going to go with the nice side on the outside, nice side on the outside. I'm going to move over those threads, and there we go. I think a piece got stuck in the, there we go. I want to make sure there's nothing stuck inside the Chicago screw. It's got a little piece of the felt that pushed into it. There we go. That way the screw, if there's something in there got caught, then it wasn't gonna seat properly with the screw going down inside. There we go. And it pushed it through. This one's all set. There we go. Let's just start it a little bit, and we'll put this one in too. And we'll start it a little bit. That way it's set and it's not going to fall out on us. And then we'll do the same thing if you have a rubber glove or we're using a rubber band, something that's going to keep it from spinning or moving on you. And then take our screwdriver and we're going to screw it down tight. There we go. There we go. Our sides are done. Yay! So they will fold up just like that. Fold in, and that's why we want to make sure these are cut right on so that it can fold up into it. This one got cut really short like it was supposed to. This one's a tiny bit longer. If you want, you can go back and trim it. These are the ones that we did cut by hand. I am going to trim it a little bit so that it sits a little more proper. Sorry, I got my head in the way there. So I'm going to just kind of try to come in here and trim it just a little bit. Not easy afterwards, but here we go. All right. And that's a part that's really it's not gonna be seen, it's inside your bag. So I trimmed it a little bit closer that we had the sides come up a little bit nicer. All right, so our next step is to do our sides. So, I mean, you can see they're wanting to start to fold back out. So we want to keep that crease. So like I said, if you want to do a couple days or in between, you know, keep it clipped up until you're ready to use it. But it's okay. So the next one is these sides are going to go on the outside of the panel. So we're going to do this. They're going to go on the outside, just like that. There, just like that. So I'm going to go back in. The top ones of my sides, I decided I want to use the jewels. I think it'll be kind of cute with little bling on the sides. So those ones I'm not going to repunch, but I am going to go ahead off camera, since you don't want to watch me do that forever here. I'm going to repunch all these holes with the 5/16, or I'm sorry, with the 9/64, the ones that's a little bit bigger than 1/8. I'm going to repunch them all so that our Chicago screws are going to fit right. So I'm going to do that off camera. These are rivets. I'm not going to touch them. I'm liking them at our 1/8. And I will be right back as soon as I punch them all. All right, I have repunched the holes that I needed with the larger size, so I will put it up on the screen for you, which size for what thing you're going to use. And those have been punched. So let's move on to adding our sides going upwards now. So like I said, this panel does not have a stiffener in it. It's up to you if you want to make a stiffener in yours, but usually on this, it allows it to kind of bend in a little bit when you have your purse up and can close it to give it a little style. So we're going to start at the bottom and move your way to the top. If you want, you can start at the bottom on one side together like this, and then together, together, together. It might make it easier for the opening. Chicago screws aren't that bad because we're not trying to get a hammer and everything in there. You're just getting the screws in and a screwdriver in there. When we get to the rivets, I'm doing the rivet at the top. I'll show you how we're going to do that rivet with the hammer and setter. And with it being a jewel, I just have a little bit of, you know, I'm going to use, so I don't break the jewel, I'm going to use a little felt to cushion it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start. And we're going to do the nice sides. I want to keep the nice sides facing outwards. And when we repunched, I had to make sure I pulled all the little fibers off of it and everything so they didn't fall into it, so that will screw down properly. So do that, and then be ready that this is going to come through that hole. So I've kind of got it here a little bit pushed out, and we're going to meet it up with our Chicago screw. It's kind of set a little bit. I'm going to not completely screw it down really tight with the rubber band. I'm going to go back and do that once I get them all set. That way there's a little bit of movement as we, a little bit of play, because we need to open and kind of close. So I'm going to just kind of finger tight them. I'm not going to do the rubber band yet until I'm finished with it all. Then I'll go back and really torque them all down. Okay, we'll do one side. And I'll do a couple and then go off screen. I don't think you want to watch this or have it sped up either. It's kind of boring. Another one of those like watching paint dry. So I've put the outside and I've pushed it through. Get rid of those loose strings. Kind of make sure it goes through and there's no strings. Match it up to my other, whoops. And it's good to have the side pliable too, so that you can maneuver and bend it around. All right, kind of match it to that. We're going to hold it, get my screwdriver. So it's kind of hard to see. And screw it down. Kind of just finger tight. It can still maneuver around, which is fine. Okay, one more. So this is it. We're just adding our Chicago screws. And if we were doing our rivets, same thing. You'd just be putting your rivet in, putting the cap on it, a rivet, a cap, a rivet. It might be easier if you do one and then actually make sure that it's pushed into its corner and then set it and then push the next one in and set it. You may want to do it that way, starting at the bottom, working our way out so that you have room, and then you're going to do the other side if you're going to be doing the hammer kind of thing. So that would be the best result, because trying to get this into an actual table press is a little tough. So I think the hammer and your setting tools would be the best for that. Okay, another Chicago screws all the way up. Push it through, get rid of all the little extra threads and knots that may have come through. Push that through the hole. I know it's going through. Line it up on top. I'm going to kind of hold it. And I'm going to just screw it in to set it. All right, just kind of finger tight. It's not tight, tight. All right. One more time, we're going to push it through, get rid of any of those loose threads sticking out so they're not going to fall inside. Have our screw head part on, going in, push it through, and kind of set it on top, hold it, and we're going to make sure we screw it in right, and we don't want to cross thread that. There we go, now it's seated. And there we go, kind of finger tight for now. And now I will go back in since it's with the screwdriver, and I'll be doing the rubber band and holding them all once I get them all in. So I'm going to go ahead and set off camera. I'm going to put in all my Chicago screws. You can always go back on the video to see how it's done. You can go backwards. So I'm going to set them all, and then I will be back and show you how I'm going to do the rivets at the very top ones and adding our handle. So I will be right back once I have most everything. Maybe I might pop back in when I start the other side, and you can see how it's going to be a little bit difficult when I get on this side. Be right back. Okay, I'm popping in really quick. showing you that I finished this side, and what I've decided to do was to kind of keep it creased still while I'm working on it, and I added the clips on it to kind of keep it bent up a little bit, and I pushed it in like we're going to have it. And I'm going to go ahead and work on this side now, and I kept this kind of clipped while I was working on the other side. So same thing, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. I worked at, you know, the bottom all the way up, and we're going to do the why is it not focusing? It's not focusing, sorry. It's we're going to go ahead and maybe this is too shiny stuff sometimes, but we're going to add those little jewel rivets to the top when we get to that. So I thought I'd let you know, and in between I kind of keep things closed up and pinned so that the creases will stay better and start to remember that it needs to crease. And now I'm going to go ahead and add, and the flap goes on the inside. I'm going to add this side. All right, so I will be right back. Okay, I've popped back in, and I'm going to try to do this on camera for you on this last part. That way you can see it and how I am doing it and what we need to do. So I'm kind of going to clip this back. Clips work. A couple. Kind of helps. So I'm creasing it at the top, not at the bottom. We're at the top of our thing. So I'm leaving that back so I can reach in it and it's not going to keep flopping on me. And so that you can see how I'm trying to reach in and what I'm doing here for this last part. And it is a little tight, but we will manage and we'll get to it. So I kind of preload the side, do an assembly line. Like I push all these in first, get them all set in. This is how I was doing the other one too. All the other sides. Just kind of went all the way up. Got them all in. There we go. Last one there. So once they're kind of pushed in with this, with the proper hole punch, they're seated in good, and they're not gonna, you know, just call falling out real easy. So they're kind of set in there. You see it. And so the next thing, since these are all set, we made sure that they're you don't want to have any threads or anything hanging, because then it's going to end up trying to go inside where we put the thread or the screw part, and then it just doesn't work very well. It gets caught in there and you got to pull it back out. So, all right. So I've got all those set up inside there, like so. And then the rest I'm doing are the little screw parts. So it's that little screw. I'm not sure why I am not. You are supposed to be focusing on that, but there we go. So the little screw part. So this screwdriver I have is a little bit magnetic. So maybe if you have a thing to magnetize, having a magnetic one kind of helps because it holds the screw a little bit. But we're going to start this. Like I said, this one's a little bit tougher. So you're going to reach in and you're going to do a lot of feeling, and you're going to push your screw through, and then kind of line it up. You're going to kind of hold it a little bit. It doesn't snap in or anything, so you just kind of guide it. And then I take my screwdriver and I kind of look down in there. Sorry if my head gets in the way. So this is really tight. If it's not real tight, I mean the other panels were good, so I just kind of wanted to show you these panels because it's the very last and everything's closed up on you. So you kind of stick it through the hole and kind of line it up a little bit. If you can, with your fingers, kind of do a slight couple screws like I just did. And then you're going to take that screwdriver, line it up, and I'm just going to do my turn. Get it in there, get it somewhat tight that you can until we have to go back, and then we'll tighten them all when we go back. That's one. So same thing with it being really tight. I'm going to leave the screwdriver in there so I can reach it easier. Push it through my hole on this side. That's the little screw part. And I'm going to line it up with the other part. And then slightly a little bit turn with your finger just to get it kind of started. And then you got your screwdriver ready to go. You kind of look inside. And it lined up and we're screwing in. Nope, didn't. I did not cross thread that. That's a good one. If you cross thread it, just go back out and kind of just turn again to guide it. So it's getting tighter and it's getting closer. So, you know, you can leave some of your pins off for now to keep it open if you want. You can keep it pinned overnight just to keep it, we're getting closer to the top so you can see a little bit better your holes that you're going to guide it into. There we go. And that one I actually kind of guided that one in by the screwdriver. Feels like it wants to cross thread. Nope. There we go. Yeah, if it starts to cross thread, you can tell. You don't want to force it. It will screw naturally. It feels like if it stopped after a turn or two, then just turn it back out, let it feel it, and then set it and go to your right again. You don't want to cross thread them. All right, 2 more Chicago screws to go. Push everything out of the way. All right, and I'm going to start it with my screwdriver, line it up. Doesn't want to catch. It is cross-threading. There we go. All right, tight, and we've got 1 more Chicago screw to go. Yay! Oops, that one popped out. Now it's kind of hard to see, but I'm trying my best to kind of show it to you. We're at the top, so this one's a little bit easier at the top to line up. Find that Chicago screw, find the female part. You can tell it doesn't want to line up right this way. So there we go. Back, heard it snap, and then we are lined up. So now I'm going to screw it on. All right, we are good. Kind of, since we only cinched it, we want to stretch it out, make sure they're set. This one I did the same thing. Set. We can pull these off now off the lid. If you want, let it set again, maybe overnight. Putting the clips on, you know, just to keep it formed, keep it to have a form. So our next step then would be we're going to add our rivets to our 2 top ends, and then when we add the handle, we'll be putting the rivets with the jewels on the handle as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unclip this for now so we can have room in it to work. What we need to do is tighten down all the screws. Whoops. So with tightening them down, we're going to have our rubber band, excuse me, I'm sorry. We're going to have our rubber band or a rubber glove, something that's got grip, something that has that grip. So we're going to do the rubber band and hold the flat side with the rubber band, and then our screwdriver on the inside, push against it. Carefully you don't slip with the screwdriver and then shove through your finger. So you want to hold the one end and the screwdriver so that it doesn't turn, and come up and do each one and make sure they're tight. You don't want them to unscrew on you and then your purse fall apart. There we go. There we go. And you can tell when you got to the end there. So some of them have a few more turns to go. I think between the layers of the fabric. There we go. So I'm going to do up the sides. I don't think you want to watch this. I'm going to go up the other two sides to tighten up all my screws, and then I'll be back with the rivets for you. All right, we are here now to do, let's see, our jeweled rivets. So those are going to be done by hand with our hammer. I'm not going to do it in the press. With the jewels, you want to be really careful that we don't hammer hard and end up breaking our little jewel. So I got a little piece of felt that I'm going to go ahead and put inside just to help it so it doesn't crack my little jewel. So I decided to do the jewel ones at the top. So I'm going to add the jewel and then I'm going to put the cap on it so you'll hear that little snap. So tiny. There we go. And I'm going to prepare the other side as well. And I put the snap little last one here. Little snap. So they're there, but they're not actually like secured yet. They're just snapped on and holding. So I'm going to move my stuff off of here because all I want is my setter, my bottom part for the setter, and the top tool. So I'm going to lay my felt on top and kind of push down to make the little divot, and then I'm going to put the purse down in two, and I want to make sure when I put it there I feel that it's set into it. So I'm going to kind of show you here, put that down. So when I do it, I'm going to kind of make sure the felt's there, and then I'm going to kind of like rock it a little bit and feel that it's set inside the little divot. And it is. So I'm going to lay it down on my block, take my setter tool, set it in there in the center. And you don't want to hammer real hard at first because you don't want to break that jewel. So just enough that you can feel it go down in. No, it didn't set. Okay, do it again. I didn't hammer hard enough on that one. There we go. Kind of hear it press, go down in. Okay. Nope, it's not working on this one. There we go. All right, let's try that one more time. What happened was the cap kind of turned sideways on that one. There we go. And the hammer straight down. Well, I may not be using these ones. For some reason, these ones might be because they're too cheap. They don't want to set down in. So I am out of luck on the little jewel ones. I thought they were going to work, but apparently they're not working very well. So this one, yeah, they don't want to set down in. This one kind of crushed. So these jewel ones may not be a good quality. That's probably why. Okay, well, those won't work. So let me see if I can find some better ones, but I doubt it because they're going to be the same ones. If I have, those aren't, so my silver ones aren't big enough. I may have to wait. You're going to have to wait till I get my other ones in, which should be hopefully today or tomorrow. If I have anything else. I have smaller jewels. Let's see if these work. You never know. Maybe because they're shorter, they might work. So we're going to test them out, and you're going to find out through me if they work or not. So here's some little silver ones, or diamond ones. So they're not blue, they're going to be clear. So let's see if I can get these to work. They seem a little bit shorter, so they might... That could be it, that those prongs are just too long. So here's a short one. Let's see how this one works. If this one works, I'm going to go with the clear silver, or the clear diamondy ones. And the setter, they want the round part of the setter for the head of the rivet, for the cap part. Guess what? That one worked. So it's not quite as big, but it's got a little bling. This one is just going to be the clear silver. The blue ones, the shank is just a little too long, and there's not enough of the fabric to actually, it's too much for it to crush down. So these ones are actually too long. Now that we know, I'm going to go ahead and use the little clear silver ones. We'll have diamonds instead of the little, well, those aren't sapphires, they're not dark enough, but aquamarine. There we go. Okay, so I got one set, and I'm going to go ahead and set the other one. Same thing, I'm going to seat it and make sure it's seated. I'm using the felt so that I don't crack or crush that jewel. And it is set. I know it's really hard for this to see, but let me show you real quick. So it's seated in there, and it's on my board. I'm going to take the tool, our setter, hammer it down. It did not crack. We're good. All right, so instead of the blue ones, we're going to go with the white ones. So remove those. Okay, I need my little bling on the top, and snap the cap down. So right here, I've got that. I pushed it through. There's just enough sticking through, and I can pop the cap down. There we go. It's kind of what you need. You don't want too long of your stem. If it's too long, it doesn't have enough to, it's just going to crush or bend over. So there's not enough fabric or material. So if you have something a little thicker, or if you're using 2 layers of something or 4 layers, this felt is kind of thin. So that's when you would need the longer prong for thicker, like maybe if you go through 4 or 5 layers of vinyl or something. But we made it work. We're making it work. So snap that on. There we go. And these little rhinestone rivet set, let me see if I can see what millimeter these are for you. These actually say 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 7 millimeter. I tore it. I should have looked at it before I opened it and tore it. Yeah, it says 7 millimeter. So 1/4 inch, 7 millimeter. Soology. I got these at Hobby Lobby. So I bought these ones at Hobby Lobby. So I've got 2 more to set. Do these really quick, and then I've got the handle to go. Same thing with the setter. I know this is not easy to see, so I've got right there, if you can see it, kind of, sort of. Got it inside, everything's ready to go. Hammer it down. And kind of like I said, you can hear it. It's set, it didn't crack. Gotta have that little felt there. Make sure it's seated. There we go. Setter on top. There we go, hammer. A little bit better. And it's set. All right. So we have our sides set. Little two little blings at the top. Little something special. I let it sit. You can let it sit again overnight if you want. Clip your sides. Clip the sides like this. Keep them closed like that. I let it lay and I had them clipped overnight to kind of keep it, help keeping it bent and folded properly. All right, so we've got our handle to go. I'm going to put the handle on. And then I'm going to, once I have the handle on, I will show you. Let's see here. I guess I'm going to go with the silver because I don't think the blue. Well, I might get the blue ones in the top because it seems to be thick enough with that pellon between here. So I'm going to try one more time to see if I can get the blue. I like the little blue ones. So the blue ones actually might fit on the handle because there's enough. Let's just try one. Let's try one. Yay! Maybe I can get the blue on the handle part. Let's see how my jewels look. So there's that layer of Peltex in here. So that Peltex is taking up some more space. So maybe it'll work. Maybe not. Kind of went crooked. You can see that it went crooked. I don't think it's going to work. So I'm going to pry this back off because it's just not going to work and it's going to catch. So, and I don't want to pull too much. I will be right back. Okay, I got it off and we are not going to go with the little blue ones. Not going to work. We're going to go back to our little silvery diamond looking ones, and I'm going to these ones are going to be a little bit tougher. You're going to have to snap them on. So maybe 8mm might be good for here. I'm still going to try these because of that pellon, that little thickness there from the other. But I can kind of feel it sticking out the other end. So I'm going to push my rivet down into the hole. There we go. I can feel it snap on, so it's going to hold. I think we'll be good. Let's start with those two first. You can feel it set in there. You want to make sure it's in the divot. There we go. Take our setter tool, divot end on here. There we go, that's one. There we go, set, and number two. There we go. Look how cute that is with that little bling, just a little added something. All right, I'm gonna do the other two. Trying to do these kind of quickly here for you. I know it's another long video, so sorry. Lucky a lot of the detail I just kind of skipped through for you because it's a little time consuming on punching all those holes and everything. But we're doing good. Here we go. And I need a cap. Kind of push it through with your nails all around it. There we go, snap. Just heard the snap this time. All right, and one more time, we're gonna set it. Make sure it's in there seated. There we go. Done. One more. Feel a rock seated. There we go. We have the handle. Yay! We have a handle on our purse. Is that cute? Handle. Yes. The top. from the side, from the other side, from the front, and it's perfect. So here's where we test this. We're gonna put something in here that's a little kind of heavy. Oh, let's go with the tape dispenser. That's kind of heavy, huh? Yep, there we go. So that's why we work our sides and push them in. And then we're gonna kind of feel the heaviness of it. So for where some stuff in it would be, and the handle in the center, pretty much where I put that mark is where I'm going to put my snap. So let's work on that little snap part. So we have here our mark, and I want to make the hole, and I cannot use a hole punch because it's down in there and this won't go through. So I have to use the hole punch that comes with the equipment. And I did have it out. Where did I put it? Here it is. Okay, so here's the little punch that comes with it, and then I have the setter for my snap. So if you're using, like I said before, I showed it a little bit, you're going to put the circle on here, make your lines, cut it, and that'll be your other one with the prongs. But of course you would have this side on the outside here, and then those prongs would be sticking out inside, and that's when you would just maybe get a little square piece of felt and glue the felt down to cover up the prongs on the inside. So we're not going to use the prong ones. I want to use the new rivet ones that I found with the cap. So the inside will have this cap and it'll look okay. It's not going to get caught, and it'll be kind of classy looking, I think. So I am going to put my punch right smack in the center, and I need to build this up a little bit. What can I build it up with? I don't have anything to build it up with because it's so stiff. So I'm going to use the corner of the table and stick the corner of the table in here inside this. You may not see it because it's the very corner here. Move all my stuff up to the side. Move my paperwork. So I'm going to use the corner of my desk, or my workbench here. And maybe I can like just slightly turn the camera maybe, but we'll see. Here, I'll move it. So I'm at the corner here, if you can kind of see, and I've put the purse, actually if my table's there, I put the purse in the corner and I've set it like this on top of it to give stability. Just to punch my hole. So, sorry about that. That would be the little vacuum doing its thing. Okay, we've punched our hole, which is fine. There we go. And then I'm gonna have to, let me move the camera a second because you're gonna want to see this. There we go. I'll move my jig over to the corner. All right, here we go. So I have my board and it's on the corner. I'm rearranging my studio for you. All right, now you get to see my floor and my shoes. And I will move the camera over a bit on the jig. Sorry for all this. My hands don't want to squeeze very well. There we go. Sorry. All right, let's try this again for you. Move my machine out of the way a little bit. Okay, we're on the corner of our table. And I'm going to take my purse, and it's on the corner like this, so that the table is stable for this, because I still need to use that corner to set our snap. So the snap's going to go there. And the rivet's going to go on the cap is going to go on the inside. Okay. Same thing, you kind of hear it snap a little bit like the other ones. So this one has to be kind of done backwards. So this needs, Where's my camera now? Okay, so here's the disc, and it's got the little divot here which sits inside of that, and it's magnet, so it's kind of cool that it seats and sits and it's not going anywhere. And then I'm going to flip it over, and this is where I got my setter tool, and the hardest part is going to be trying to hammer it with this bag and get it to set. So I'm going to put my hammer inside and I'm going to try to hammer it down. Let's see if I can clip this back for you to see. There we go. How's that? A little bit better. All right, so I'm seated on my bottom. My round divot part here is going in on the cap, and then I'm going to try to hammer the best I can. And I think it actually set pretty well. Let me try a little bit more just to make sure. Just can't get inside that bag. I'll use the side of my hammer. There we go. And we're set. It's there. Ta-da! So clip, and that's the closure in our bag. All right. Let's get everything back to where it belongs. I will be right back. Alrighty, I cleaned up, put us back where we belong, and we are pretty much done. It kind of roughed me up a little bit on that with the hammer. So pretty much where I put that spot is pretty much where it's going to go. So you can always, before you actually assemble your purse, we can also add that piece too, so you won't have any of the issues of trying to put it in later. So, and when you get the fuzzies, just a little bit of the lighter kind of helps keep the fuzzies down. There we go. So, we have our purse. We are all set. Like I said, I am going to let it sit with clips on it, since I didn't have these that top jewel in there for a while. So I'm going to let my purse like sit overnight or a couple days with clips on it to keep that bend and to kind of train it to bend. And then here we are, goes over, catches on the magnetic snap, kind of perfect. It's got the handle, and I'm going to put my roll of tape inside, and I'm going to snap it back down, and that magnetic snap holds. It's perfect. Look at that little cute purse. I'm probably going to make it a little bit smaller too, for a smaller handbag, for a small take. And then even, you know, so that the little sides can be put on. We'll figure them out. This is a first for me for a complete in the hoop bag. That's just put together with rivets at the ends and the bottom. Solid. When I get my rivets, I will probably take the Chicago screws out and put the rivets in for at least my bottom to make sure it's secure. But it's up to you. Chicago screws are just easy, a little more expensive, but just easy to put in, easier than trying to put rivets in. So here's the handbag. The handle holds up really well. I'm bouncing it in. It kind of looks nice. You got to have that Peltex. You got to have that in there to make it to make it stay stiff and to make it hold and be there. So here is our bag. This is the Rivet Hand Bag 1, because I'm sure I'll make other versions of it, small and large and all that. I may make some with a taper inside, where the sides may taper, or we'll join them together at the top. So, you know, there's so many variations that I can do with this bag. And then for these side pieces, you would just do the same thing. Since we have it done and you know where it's going to hang, you can probably, I would say, I would put it down, you know, if you do have that, you got to remember it's going to open on the sides. So having that strap here is going to keep it kind of a little bit open on the sides. So up to you, but they are here. Same thing depending on where you think you want to put the straps, or down a little bit more, up, down, wherever. Same thing, you're just going to punch the holes just like you did, and then we'll put, with this one, with this many layers, this is where you're going to need that longer rivet. So probably the blue jewels, which were I think 10. Not sure. It actually doesn't even say on the package what size they were. These might be 10, so I think those might be good enough for the sides actually. But since we're with the silver, I would stick with silver. So here's the bag by Bad Bobbin, all done in the hoop, joined in the hoop. It fits a roll of tape, so I'm sure it fits quite a bit. I have not looked yet. I've got a bunch of vinyl here that needs to be cut out. These are my little poop bag purses. So that's a bunch of vinyl I just stuck in there and, you know, snap down. Just gotta find it. There we go. And it's holding. It's not going anywhere. There is some stuff in there. So let's pull those out. There we go. So thanks for joining me. I know it's quite a bit of a long video, but thanks for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and if you like this design and want more of these type of designs, let me know. I can work on them and we'll get them going. Yeah, subscribe if you haven't yet. That way you'll get more notifications. And I've got a few people that are collaborating with me, and they will be doing tutorials on my products, and I'll be adding them to my my feed and videos and let you know where their feed and video is too. So we're all kind of collaborating together and sharing. If you haven't heard of them yet, you will, and you can go subscribe to them as well. So remember, subscribe, thumbs up if you enjoyed my video, and remember to go to badbobbin.com for the design and join the Facebook group, which is the facebook.com/group/badbobbin. And if you make the purse, be sure to post and boast on my Facebook page so that we can see the beautiful work that you do as well. Thanks for joining me. See you at the cutting table.